Afternoon, everybody. Bringing it
Hi.
full circle. Hey, bringing it full circle is back. It's
Yay.
back. And look at-
Yay.
I know what it is. It is 9:23. It is this fine, happy Wednesday, hump day. Yes, we are back in full effect. I am Andre the Torch Robinson here with
Delindra Peterson.
yes. And I'm gonna be very honest with you. This is probably gonna be a very combustible first show back because we have breaking news that just came out of the state of Kentucky, in which yeah.
Yeah.
For those who didn't need any more bad news for 2020, we have more bad news, unfortunately. Not the way we wanted to go out and start bringing it full circle. We would have rather started with a happy note, a high note, but nevertheless, gotta do it. So, here's the breaking news. Following months of outrage, activism, and anticipation, a Kentucky grand jury has decided to indict one of the three. Okay. Louisville Metro Police Department officers involved in the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor in March. Brett Hankinson was fired in June, charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment. The grand jury did not announce charges against the other 2 officers involved. Kentucky's Attorney General Daniel Cameron is expected to make remarks regarding this grand jury report Wednesday. Ahead of the grand jury decision, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher announced a citywide curfew from 9 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. for 72 hours beginning Wednesday night. On Tuesday, the mayor had declared a preemptive state of emergency as the city braces for possible protests. The police department shut down parts of downtown Louisville to car traffic and saying that those that wanted to ensure the city is safe for demonstrators and those who otherwise live and work there. Out of all that, folks, the biggest thing is no charges will be indicted on any of the officers for the actual killing of Breonna Taylor. Delindra Peterson, I have to ask you, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, some people are not going to like what I'm getting ready to say. I feel that we are part of that issue because we protested and we did all these different protests around the world dealing with Floyd, but we did not do anything as we should have for Breonna. And I feel like as soon as all of those things died down with him, we should have been on things for her. I should have been doing multiple things at the same time. We forget, we allow one issue to override another issue. And this is what the results are, because we ignored one thing for another thing. And we allowed the world to let us do that. But we have to come together now and fix our mistake. But one thing we need to make sure we don't do is riot. Riot is not going to solve the issue with me. I feel that is not going to solve anything. The only thing that's going to do is destroy our neighborhoods, not their neighborhoods, our neighborhoods, because they're not going to bring those stores back to your neighborhoods. They're not going to bring anything else to your neighborhood if you riot and burn things down. History has shown that. We have to do something that's going to make an impact. Stop purchasing from people that are racist. Stop purchasing from people that are not in your culture. Matter of fact, let's stop purchasing for 2 or 3 days. We did a 1 day where we stopped purchasing. How about a week of not purchasing anything to show that African Americans actually have an impact on this world? Let's show them economically that we are important, because right now they don't see that.
So let me ask you a question about how you feel. So how do you feel about them paying off Breonna Taylor's family $12 million then? What was that all about? And how do you feel about that?
Because we have to understand the system. There are 2 different types of dealing with things. They were able to give them that money because there was a totally different lawsuit. compared to a criminal offense. So just because they gave them $12 million does not say that they feel that the police officers were wrong or negligent. It just showed that they were willing to give the parents and family guidance and help, basically, to try to calm things down. But when it comes to the system, we have to understand the system, and that's something we as African Americans need to do more of. Understand the system. How can we work around this system to make it better for us? Right now, we don't know our laws. So people are upset because they gave them $12 million, but they knew what they were doing. I mean, because they know the law.
Okay, so before I get into my thoughts, I will say this. Ben Crump, who is Jefferson County's, who is a attorney at law, said this. Jefferson County grand jury indicts former officer Brett Hankson with 3 counts of wanton endangerment in the first degree for the bullets that went into other apartments, but nothing for the murder of Breonna Taylor. This is outrageous and offensive. He said if Brett Hankerson's behavior was wanton endangerment to the people in the neighborhood and apartments, then it should have been wanton endangerment in Breonna's apartment as well. In fact, they should have ruled it wanton murder. Now, with that being said, here's my thoughts. And it's plain and simple. Will I say that they did enough for Breonna Taylor? I don't think there's anything that's going to be enough as it concerns social injustice, as far as people losing their lives. I don't think we never can do enough. I think efforts were made, and that's fine and dandy. The efforts were made on one hand, and then here's the efforts on the other hand. I am not surprised that Attorney General Daniel Cameron decided to go this way, especially when he was at the Republican National Convention just recently. Not surprised. That's number one. Number two, secondly, this is a ploy. And right now, this is a war of attrition. And I need African Americans and Black folks to listen up and listen carefully what I say. And you can share this, by the way. For those that's watching right now, I need you to share this because it's super important. Do not fall for the trap. This is a ploy and a trap to get folks to act up. Because once you act up, they're looking to arrest you. If you have not noticed, LeBron James and other folks are fighting right now to get felons to be able to vote, to the right to vote. If you are charged with a felony right now, they are trying to keep you from voting. So if you protest and you get a felony charge because you act up, they're taking your vote right along with Breonna Taylor's justice. Please do not act up because this is a smokescreen and a ploy to keep you from voting in T-minus 5 weeks from now. Yeah. Watch it, be mindful of it, and don't fall for the trap. Be upset, and like Dillinger said, I totally agree. Stop supporting folks who don't have respect for you. I would boycott everything until they give us our respect due. Period. It's a sad situation, but I'm not surprised, and I kind of seen this coming.
And I'm glad you said something about the voting too, Andre, because a lot of people, there are a lot of felons. There are a lot of African American felons, and they don't realize that if after so many years, you can reapply to vote, and you still have time to do that now. If you had a felony a couple of years ago and you haven't gotten in trouble, a lot of states allow you to reapply. Alabama is one of those states, but they don't tell you this. You have to go to your government and get this done. You have to just fill out a simple piece of paper where you can vote again. If you have not gotten in trouble, once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not gotten in trouble in 2 years, you can reapply. If your fees and everything are paid, you can reapply. They're not telling us this. And I'm sure there are other states the same way.
Yeah, I definitely would be doing research right now. And to be honest with you, we got to lock hands in a different way. Please, if you're going to peacefully protest. Do not get caught up in the rioting or the criminal act thereof that rioting can incur. Please don't. I'm begging folks not to.
True.
We have a job to do in 5 weeks, and we need to get the job done. And if we don't, then whose problem is it now? All of ours. And what's going to be the first thing said? We didn't do enough. So let's get the job done. Okay? Period. Wow. Not the way you want to start off bringing it full circle news, but nevertheless, we got to. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in right now. Thank you. Like and share, please. If you're on Facebook, like and share. If you're on the OnPoint network, please make sure you tune in to this because, again, this is going to be a scorcher. I do have some special guests coming up today. By the way, Taniqua Simmons just entered in the building. Taniqua Simmons, what's going on as we get into our news segments? Taniqua, how are you today?
Oh, fine. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Our New York segment will be coming up shortly. But while you're here, that you just entered the room, might as well ask you how you felt about Breonna Taylor in this situation, real quick.
I think it's a travesty of justice. I don't know how they can expect the tax to pay for these settlements and these officers not to be held accountable. They're holding the taxpayers accountable.
Wow. That was quick, fast, and lightning fast. Whoa. I didn't even, you know what's funny? I didn't even think of that. I did not think of that at all. About the taxpayer responsibility for these settlements. Did not even think about that. Wow. All right. We're gonna get into some world news. Taniqua, just stay clear, stay tuned, listen to us. We got some stuff to report, and then we'll get to you. Promise you.
Listen, did I join in? Like
no. It's fine. It's fine. 3:45 was the time. It's fine. It's good. But I'm glad you're here because you probably get the input on a lot of this stuff with me and Delindra. All right. In other world news, and here comes Dorothea Franklin as well.
Hello.
Hey, Dorothea. World news coming up, all right? World news coming up. All right, how's it going? All right. Now, with the world news, here we go. Trump's world order. Might as well get into it. All right. I'm being told by producers to let them get it in. All right, so we're gonna go straight to New York news, folks. Right to New York news. We're gonna kick this off. Carol's Law. Might as well talk about it. Carol's Law.
Listen.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Might as well get into Carol's Law, New York news. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Carol's Law expected to be passed. It was passed, right? Is this really Carol's Law? It says the Buffalo Common Council board proposed duty to intervene legislation for police officers moved a step closer on Tuesday, becoming a local law. The legislation dubbed Carol's Law would require officers to intercede when another officer is using excessive force and will hold officers who fail to do so accountable and protect whistleblowers. The Common Council Legislation Committee sent the proposal in full council for a vote that would make it a local law. All 9 council members have said they support the concept of the legislation. My question to the two folks that are here, Dorothea Franklin and Taniqua Simmons and Delindra. My question is this really Carol's Law?
Did she unmute herself?
Yeah. The answer is no. It's really not Carol's Law. Carol's Law. Well, first of all, the city of Buffalo already had duty of intervene on the books. That was already a law. So what they did was just gave it her name. Right. Yeah, it was a policy, but they gave it her name. Carol's Law has other components to it. So They're just dishing out surface mess like they always do, and trying to make it seem like they're doing reforms, which they always try to make it seem like they're doing something, which is a bunch of busy work and a bunch of surface mess. And they sell it to the public like they're really doing their work, but they're not doing anything. Now, like I said, there's so many other components to it, and one of them has to do with her pension. Another one has to do with protecting the officer, and it's probably like about 5 of them, right, Taniqua?
Listen, it's 6. 5. There's 6. They've taken the first
bottom line. That's not Carrio's law. They're just giving it her name. The duty to intervene is now going to be known as Carrio's law. So, a bunch of surface reform.
Okay. Taniqua, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, when we speak about Carrio's law, as it was written, it was supposed to be a
so like that's it's like five other things that they're missing.
Right, and it was supposed to be a state law.
I mean, it's not Carrio's law. It's just surface reform. It's surface work that they're doing, and they're feeding it to the public.
Is that they've taken the duty to intervene policy and made it a law, but unfortunately, without the whistleblower protections that were the other 5 bullets. The law is the Carrio's law is just a watered down version of what it was supposed to be, because you can't expect officers to intervene if at the end of the day they're going to be another Carrio Horn, and that would be that they would lose their job and or pension, have the union fight for them, and be left penniless and homeless because you were a good cop. Because the first thing to intervene and a registry for those who were violation was protection for officers who intervened, for of falsifying reports. 5 was the impact policies regarding termination and department funding, and 6 was restorative justice for retaliation on whistleblowers. So if we only take the duty to intervene and we don't protect those who intervene, what are we talking? Who's going to intervene? So that's the whole thing. Like, they need to say what it is and stop giving us watered down versions of the truth, because a half truth is a whole lie. All they're trying to do is cover up the fact that they do not believe that this woman should get her pension, and they don't believe in protecting good officers, because if they did, they would have adopted the law as it was written. They wouldn't be chopping it down like, yeah, we're going to name it Carrio's law, and then we'll worry about introducing the protections at a later date. The law is nothing if people aren't protected. There's no place where whistleblowers aren't protected. They're protected when they whistleblow against the federal government. They're protected when they whistleblow against in the state, and all of it doesn't make any type of sense. So you can't have true transparency. Others are scared to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? The truth. And when they're scared to intervene. So with that being said,
so basically what they did was just do something to pacify everyone that's been asking for this law to pass, but made it where police officers wouldn't be willing to step forward, basically. Wow.
Correct.
So what can you guys do, or what can New York do to correct this? How can this be corrected, or what can the citizens of New York do to help get this corrected?
The citizens can actually hold everybody who signed up for the surface reform, hold them accountable to making sure that the protections are put in place so that officers can be inspired enough to intervene. Because if I'm going to lose everything, intervening on some citizen that I don't know, I'm not loyal to, I'm going to mind my business, because we have to understand when police officers come forward, they're also scared for their lives because they've crossed the blue line. Now they have to be worried about officers responding to their calls for help and assistance. So not only are they putting themselves in harm's way financially in terms of their jobs and pension, they're putting their lives on the line if they're going to continue to be police officers. They'll be known as rats. Nobody will want to work with them. Like, those are things that we have to speak of honestly, but we just don't.
So who do they need to? You were saying they need the people that created this, or well, who voted on this law. Who do they need to kind of push and tug and get to make this sure this is done?
Circus Act be your common council representatives and these community organizations that have held this a victory that this law has gotten passed, and it's only a watered down version of what
at this point they really have to just be voted out of office, because they made this big hoopla about Carrio's law, like they were really doing something. And in turn, we get nothing for it because it's not the full version of it. So they're not going to go back. They're not going to double back and try to change anything because they feel like they've already done their due diligence with the Carrio's law. There's really not going to be no, let's go take a look and see, even though that's what they say, they're not going to do it. So they really just need to go. They really just need to be voted out of office.
So while you are here, can you tell the people out there that are wondering what Taniqua Simmons and Dorothea Franklin are doing in the community as far as social injustice and things of that nature? Can you let them know exactly what you're doing, what solutions you have to make a difference in the community?
Turn that down.
You want to go first, Taniqua?
No, I don't want to go first. You go first.
God. You know what? I'm gonna say this. We do everything. We do everything in this community. We fight for everybody that looks like us, everybody that goes through the struggles like us. When something happens, like, okay, this just happened, we just on it. So it's ranging from education to tickets to we did the checkpoints. We're just on it with everything because there's so much going on, including the police brutality. But we're talking about things that these other organizations aren't talking about. We're actually trying to make a difference at a level where people can understand, like, we can't accept a lot of other people talking for us. We can't accept a lot of surface stuff. We have to understand the difference from what's real reform to what's garbage reform. And like, we're just in everything. Our hands are in everything. Right now we started up a ADOS Buffalo. And you know, it's partly political, but it's also about reparations for ADOS descendants. Like I said, we're in everything. We're trying to reach out to lawyers to help victims of police brutality. We're in everything.
She said we're in everything. That was great, Teresa. Thanks for taking the time to run that down. What I would add to that is that our goal and what we do and what our primary focus is on education. Like the we have systemic racism. We are addressing structural racism. That takes an entire community. Like that's not something that one person, one organization that could do. What we need to do is we are waking up the community by making them aware. A lot of we have a lot of issues and people being so unfamiliar with the origin of those issues. Um, we have a lack of understanding, and a lack of understanding is the reason why we continue to allow these certain conditions to plague our community. And all of our issues lead right back to our lack of representation and how they're allocating those funds. So our solution is to educate everyone to the point that they can see through the politics, that they can see through the song and dance and the smoke and mirrors, and vote in a manner in which is and represents their best interests. Right now, we don't vote in our best interest because we vote for who we're told to vote for, as opposed to being familiar with the issues that impact us the most and the genesis of those issues and how the people sitting in the seats that represent us are just not doing their job. Because if we can get true leadership in, and they can continue to stay connected with the people, then we're going to get the solutions that we need. So our goal through the Buffalo United Community Coalition, Power in Numbers, the Nubian, um, we started the Nubian, what is
Citizens
it? The
Alliance.
Nubian Citizens Alliance, in which we are garnering the power of the citizens, educating them and mobilizing them within their own neighborhoods by forming block clubs and running for these positions. It's not enough that we vote, we have to run. We have to get the outside influence out of the politics. We got to get the ignorance out of the politics. We have to be so politically astute that nobody can pull the wool over our eyes. And then we will vote in a manner in which supports our self interest. And then we'll see the things that we need to have accomplished in our community accomplished, because we have lots of solutions. But unfortunately, when our solutions get to the legislators, they get tabled. So we have to have a legislative body that actually wants to fight for the people instead of selling them out.
Very eloquent.
All right. Well, I got
Did we
one
lose you?
last question. No, you didn't lose. You didn't lose us. I was sitting here listening the whole time. Me and Delidra, we both smiling, we listening to you. Um, I do have one last question before we get into other news. Before we let you go, my question is, and this is a spicy question.
Mm,
What
spicy.
is what do you say to the folks who say that the things that have been going on in the community, the efforts that have been made in the community aren't working? What do you say to those people?
Well, I was, and I mean, but it depends on the context in which it was said, because there are a lot of reasons why things in the community aren't working. One is that we have so many people speaking for the community that aren't speaking to the community. We have so many people that are getting involved and taking our voice and our resources for their own political gain. We've never had the leadership that listened to the people, because if we did, we wouldn't have the same issues. I mean, these people are so well educated. They have all of these connections, but yet and still the east side of Buffalo has seen 40 years of decline on their watch as they move from political position to political position, and they increase their assets and their net growth and net worth. And meanwhile, the community continues to have sustained poverty. Like, people don't even know what they're talking about. We have people who are talking and speaking without the knowledge and we as a community allow it because it make us feel good. We got to get past feeling good, and we got to be educated and ready to tear up anything and anybody that stands in between us being liberated and empowered within our own community by our own selves. Period.
Wow. I think that was answered. I think that was stamped. All right. I want to thank you both for coming. And by the way, we will have another conversation coming up this week. Coming up. So get ready for that. I appreciate you, Taniqua. Any questions you want to ask Delindra before we go?
Yes, ladies. How can they reach you guys to join in with you and what you're doing and become a part of your different organizations that you started?
Oh, they can hit me up on Facebook, TANIQUASIMMONS. We also have, you can check out our Facebook pages for the Buffalo United Community Coalition. And we have the Nubian Citizens Alliance. They're both pages that are on Facebook.
You can also go to ADOS Buffalo. That's another one of our organizations that we started. It's just a chapter in the city of Buffalo. They have ADOS chapters all over the states. You can also hit me up on my Facebook page as well, Dorita Franklin.
All right. All right. We want to thank y'all again. Appreciate you. We'll see you Saturday. Definitely we'll see you Saturday.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you again.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. In other news, in other New York news, the COVID-19 list, we'll talk about it real quick. They have added five more states onto the COVID-19 list, bringing it to 33 states, including Puerto Rico and Guam. Delindra, I have to ask you, how do you feel about states adding more states to the travel ban, as it seems that COVID is going down? How do you feel about not being able to travel to certain places?
I'm not a big traveler like that. If I travel by car. So doing the plane thing doesn't bother me unless I have to go somewhere. And I'm really not feeling trying to be by somebody all day on a plane, not knowing what they have and don't have. I mean, I know it's a hardship for a lot of people that do business in different locations and need to fly. I know it's frustrating that they have to do the quarantine and different things like that. But I mean, we have to do what we need to do to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 5 states, including the 4 west of Mississippi River, were added to the New York's COVID travelers quarantine list Tuesday by Governor Andrew M., soon to be running for president, I think, in my opinion, Cuomo. Arizona, Minnesota, Nevada, Rhode Island, and Wyoming also joined the list. So now that's, like I said earlier, 33 states plus Puerto Rico and Guam are all on the list. The quarantine list is a joint effort of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Travelers arriving from states on the list are required to quarantine 14 days upon arrival in the 3 states. For a clear example, continuing extent of COVID crisis in America, look no further than the New York State Travels Advisory List. They're saying the virus spread across the country. New cases have increased more than 15% in the last 10 days.
Wow.
Oh. Nevada and Minnesota had been coming off their quarantine list 1 week ago. Said we're going to put them right back on that list.
Yeah.
The metrics New York State uses to define the spread are the rate of 10% or higher of people testing positive for COVID-19 over a 7-day average, all right? Higher than 10% per 1,000 residents over a 7-day period. New York State's positive rate, meanwhile, has been under 1% for 45 out of 46 days. So New York State, Cuomo, who wants to soon run for president. Whoa. He ain't playing no games. Residents of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut can now travel to and from the following areas without a quarantine. Ready? They're simple. If you like water, you can go to Maine or New Hampshire or Vermont. If you like the Patriots, even though I would hope that all of you in New York are Bills Mafia fans for the most part, you can travel to Massachusetts. All right, you can go to Pennsylvania and watch the Eagles lose. You can go to Ohio and watch the Browns lose. You can go to Washington, D.C. and watch football teams that don't have a last name to their name. Or you can go to Michigan or Colorado or New Mexico, or you can travel to California, good old California. You can go to Oregon where the Ducks roam. You can go to Washington State, and you can go to Hawaii where you probably won't never come back.
No. You throw a lot of shade with this football, they gonna get you.
All right.
You ready for it? You know it's coming.
I was trying to sneak. I was trying to be. Oh, they're here laughing. Hey, y'all. Hey, what's going on Facebook? I see you. The information is so variant from the CDC recommendation in 45 administration. Yes, Letitia Hardison. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. Elena, what's going on? Robert Leader said, are the LA Rams going to quarantine after they come here? That's hilarious. That is good for Robert Leader. Good job on that. That is hilarious.
I mean, but seriously though, Andre, how do they deal with that? Like the players that have to travel from state to state, how are they dealing with that part?
You know what? The NFL says that they got it under control. We're going to let the NFL. It's interesting because, no, you know what? You bring up a really good question. It is interesting because just today, earlier, before the Breonna Taylor news came out, I was talking to a young gentleman. Anthony, shout out to you from Bryan and Stratton. Of course, I got Bryan and Stratton on y'all. And he was like, I'm not buying the fact that the NFL, after 2 weeks of football, there's no COVID cases. You haven't heard a peep about COVID cases in the NFL. He said he ain't buying it. And no offense, I ain't either.
I don't agree with that. I mean, because as soon as schools open, you heard of COVID-19. So how is it that NFL, come on, y'all, they're hiding. They're hiding a lot.
Yeah, somebody's hiding something. Definitely. I totally agree. That is very good. I'm glad that you brought that up. All right. With that being said, we have more New York news real quick, and then we are going to get to Alabama news. I know she's been waiting. She has been waiting. She's been so patient, and I appreciate it. Protesters say they're done occupying Rochester City Hall, folks. They said they're done. Really? You're done? I don't think they're done now. Not after today's news with Breonna Taylor. I don't think they're done. I think they thought they were going to be done in Rochester, but I don't think they're done. As Daniel Pruitt, we know the situation that took place with Daniel Pruitt. He was suffocated after police in Rochester used a spit hood over his head while being taken into custody. He died on March 30th, 2020, after he was taken off of life support. 7 days after the encounter from the Buffalo police, a group of protesters say they will no longer occupy City Hall as a part of their call to justice for Daniel Pruitt. Free the People, ROC, claim they are winning justice in the week since the video of Pruitt's arrest was released. Pruitt died from injuries he suffered while being arrested, like I explained, back in March. Attorney General Letitia James announced a new policy in which body camera footage of alleged police brutality cases will be made public. Free the People Rochester said Rochester's mayor, Lovely Warren, and the new police chief, Mark Simmons, have issued a subpoena in part of the investigation into Pruitt's death. Former police chief LaRon Singletary announced his retirement shortly after the video was released of Pruitt's arrest. Mayor Warner then removed him from the position a few days later. Prosecutors say they plan other actions in coming weeks. Delindra, I need to know from you and your opinion. Do you think it's over? Because I think it just got started all over again.
No, I think one problem we're having is that you have a lot of police officers, first of all, who have PTSD that in the military from going through. You're trained differently from the military, and then you transfer that training to being in the police, and that's a totally different type of training. And I think that's an issue and problem. I know, talking with my father, who was in the military, they are supposed to detox a person before they leave the military, and they don't. A lot of the times they don't do that. From him being in the Vietnam War and coming straight into society, it's a miracle that my father is the person he is, because they didn't do that. They didn't take the time to get them mentally stable before going into society. So imagine what's going on with military personnel now. You're training them to kill upon sight, and then you release them into the public and allow them becoming police officers. I mean, that's my opinion. I feel with what is going on. And then we have a lot of officials who are trying to hide things because higher people are telling them not to say certain things. They know what's going on. They know what to do to stop the issue. But you want people out there in the streets to handle situations and not worrying about whether they're trained or whether they're mentally capable of handling situations. One thing I know is you wouldn't want your family out there dealing with what you're doing to others. Simple. You wouldn't want your family to go through what these parents are going through, and these kids are going through, seeing their parents being hurt. Simple. So what we need to do as a nation, not just in America, but as a nation, because other countries are going through the same thing, is that we need to make sure people that are policing our people are mentally capable first before we do anything.
I totally agree. People need to stop acting like the relationship or the interaction or communication between cultures is politics. It's not. It's not politics.
No.
It's not politics. The way I treat you is not politics. The way you treat me, or the way different cultures treat each other, isn't politics. I need people to let that go. It's a sad situation, just for the simple fact that, again, they are knowing of what is going on, and still I'm watching where we have peaceful protests, but then we have people in offices of power who have not stepped up to the plate and actually try to make things better, in which we will talk about that in world news too later on. Mr. Trump and his world executive order crap. We'll get to it. But it is time for Alabama news. Thank you for listening to New York news. That was a whole lot, folks. I appreciate it. And Delindra, showtime.
Yes, everyone. Thank you for being patient with us. But, some things have got to be learned and said. Alabama news. We're ready for some of our entertainment news, because there's some stuff going on in Alabama that's been kind of funny. But we're going to talk about these gas prices. Drivers across Alabama will see a slight increase in how much they pay at the pump. I knew it wasn't going to last long with all these low prices. We're getting ready to enter the second phase of the gas tax plan, which was meant to fund repairs for the state roads and other projects they have planned. The 2-cent increase is the second part of a 10-cent increase, which will bring Alabama's tax rate to 26 cents per gallon, which will take effect on Thursday, October the 1st. The Rebuild Alabama Plan, which is what it's called, is projected to raise an estimated $300 million in gas taxes and revenue by 2021. Now, I don't know about you guys, but you can say what you want to say, Alabamians, but I know some roads in Demopolis and in Linden and Uniontown and Selma that I have driven by, and if I drove too fast, it would have took my car out. These roads need to be fixed. It's ridiculous. So I think I can deal with this tax increase as long as the money is going to repair these roads, not to just fix them up or just do a little thing and put a little dirt across it. No, I need you to repair these roads so we won't have so many accidents and broken cars, because I don't need my axle getting broke. But yes, I'm willing to pay this tax. So please take that money and do what has to be done with it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the information about the roads that they have planned to fix and the construction plans they have, it's available at the Association of County Commissions of Alabama. It's on their website, the Association of County Commissions website. So please go and check that out. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take your commissioner's word for it. See if your city or if your county is on that list. And if it's not, you need to make sure it is. If you know your roads are messed up, please make sure that you are added to that list. So the one thing we hate talking about, and it's getting to the point where people don't even want to talk about it anymore, is the COVID-19 coronavirus. COVID-19 in Alabama. Well, they were thinking that it was going to increase after Labor Day weekend. Some of the state health experts were concerned that the state would see a spike in cases if people didn't follow the social guidelines to slow down the spread of COVID-19. But it's been about 2 weeks later, and according to the Deputy of State Health, that there wasn't an increase. It wasn't a great spike. So some of the counties, though, did have an increase, but statewide, it was down. And even though people might be tired of hearing about COVID-19 and the numbers, and it's still important to understand that we need to continue to be safe. And yes, the world has gone back to work, and yes, the world has gone back to school. Yes, that's true. But we should still want to be healthy and safe. So currently in Alabama, we have 147,000 statewide cases. Over 132,000 are confirmed, and over 14,000 are probable cases. So Alabamians, please continue to be considerate of others when it comes to COVID-19. Andre, what do you think about that? Did your state have an increase after Labor Day for COVID-19 and, dealing with that?
Actually, there was some concern as far as the colleges is concerned, because the colleges are back now. Mm-hmm. So there was a concern with the colleges of that nature, a lot of partying going on. I know that I patrol around the college, and I know for a fact, I will tell you this, and I'm not going to name which college, but I know for a fact, y'all kids ain't social distancing, neither are y'all wearing masks. And y'all playing games, partying like it ain't nobody's business. Like coronavirus ain't real.
But you remember, Andre, when it was on before, and Alabama had the COVID-19 game they had going on to see who get COVID-19?
Yes, I remember that.
I mean, really, it's like the kids are not understanding the effect of it. And we'll see more about that in Wisconsin, because that's an issue in Wisconsin right now, too. Yeah.
Selena Cyber.
Hey, Selena. So yeah, we'll hear about that when we get to Wisconsin news. But I got one more piece of news for Alabama, which is very funny, Andre.
Sucky ducky.
Yeah, y'all. I know you've been watching the news and wondering what's going on. It's been some hilarious stuff going on. And I want to give a shout out to Portia Shepherd, because she keeps us all up on all the hilarious things that are going on. Plus, she tells us about things that we need to know. But when I saw this on her page, I had to go find out for myself. I had to go get the information. I had to call some people. I had to make sure this was correct, and it is. There's a feud between Selma activists and district attorney. Wow. In an interview yesterday with Alabama News Network, former state senator Hank Sanders demands a retraction and apology from the DA, Michael Jackson. Apparently, DA Michael Jackson has accused Selma activist Fire Rose of stealing. Jackson comments came from a $200 political ad that he bought for his wife to be put in the Jubilee newspaper that he said never ran. But Teray and Sanders founded this Bridge Crossing Jubilee paper back in 1992, and Teray has been serving as the coordinator of this event for over 30 years. And Teray says that Jackson was looking in the wrong newspaper. Apparently, she said it's been ran in the 2020 ad. And as you can see in the photo behind me, she's showing the 2020 paper of the Jubilee paper. And she said that he's been looking in the 2019 edition. And Hank Sanders, he said that I think it's criminal what he's done. But yet when we tried to talk to DA Michael Jackson, he refused to comment any further. So I think he was feeling I don't know, to know that he was looking in the wrong paper and everything. But Andre, this has been a hilarious feud going on between this family and the DA. I don't know if there is things going on between them, but there's always been something being said between DA Michael Jackson and Hank Sanders and his wife, Fire Rose. But apparently he squashed it because he realized it was in the 2020 paper and not the 2019 paper. So Alabama, if you have any great news going on, if you have anything you want us to talk about, please send it to us on bringingitfullcircle@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at BIF so we can get it out there, whether it's crazy or whether it's real. We're entertainment news. Don't you agree, Andre?
Of course I agree. I mean, DA Michael Jackson might have a Buddhist. You remember the Buddhist when you
Yes.
You got the Buddhist. Just take it that you was wrong, man.
I mean, you should have seen the interview they did with Michael Jackson. He was on there. He was holding the paper up like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Really?" And then they showed the 2020 paper. I was like, "Wow, funny." But we're gonna have to. There's a county we got to check out. Perry County. Perry County is a county that they do some crazy stuff in Alabama. If we did a reality show on them, it'll probably be #1 in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But back to you, Andre, on our next news segment.
All right, y'all know what the time it is. It's Florida news. Florida news, folks. Florida health officials reported a slight increase in coronavirus infections and deaths and hospitalizations on Tuesday after 10 days with an infection rate below 5%. The Florida Department of Health reported 2,470 new positive cases of the virus on Tuesday, increasing the state's total since March to 687,909 cases. The new cases Tuesday are out of nearly 45,000 cases. So that's 2,470 new positive cases out of 45,000 people, folks. I need y'all to, on Facebook right now, tell me what the percentage is of that. Go ahead. Let's see how your math works. All right. Now, the update released by the DOH every morning includes how many people have recently died from the complications of COVID-19, how many people have been hospitalized in Florida in the past 6 months. And on Tuesday, the DOH reported 99 new fatalities from the pandemic. Since March, 13,579 people have died in Florida from the virus, including 163 non-residents who died there. 163 non-residents, folks. Means somebody's not going to Florida this weekend. The U.S. pandemic death toll surpassed over 200,000 over the weekend. All right. Simple and plain. Why can't Florida get it together? Why can't Florida get it together? I'm just wondering. Asking for a friend here. Asking for a friend. I just need to know.
They got to be on the beach and everything else and party.
Well, they don't.
No, I have some friends that are down there, and they're saying like people are not really doing the mask thing. They're not concerned about it. They feel like COVID-19 is not real. I mean, they just walk around like it's nothing. So, I mean, I think that's what's going on.
Well, I will tell you this, New York folks and everybody that's around the world, please take it serious. Whether you believe it or not, take it serious. If you don't have all the facts to know whether it's real or not, please take it serious. All right?
True.
Speaking of which, we got more to talk about in Florida as Bloomberg raises millions to help Florida felons vote. What I just tell y'all. Didn't I just have this conversation in the New York News about folks trying to help felons vote? Again, do not let this situation with Breonna Taylor get y'all hemmed up in jail with felony charges because they are trying to keep you from voting. I'm telling you. All right? There's a job to be done in 5 weeks. All right. Democratic presidential candidate, former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg delivers remarks during a campaign rally. It was in February in Nashville, Tennessee. And Bloomberg also was holding a rally marking the beginning of voting in Tennessee ahead of Super Tuesday primary. Obviously, that was on March 3rd, right? The Democratic billionaire and former presidential candidate Mike Bloomberg is helping Florida felons pay their debts so they can vote in the presidential election. This comes days after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis won a court victory to keep felons who served their time from voting until they have paid off fines, restitutions, and court fees. Bloomberg is part of an effort to raise more than $20 million to help these felons vote in the presidential election. That is an additional $100 million that he has pledged to help Joe Biden win Florida. In the latest poll from CBS News, they have Biden up by 2% on President Trump in Florida. Funny how that works. In other news, we'll get into some more. Actually, it's very interesting because LeBron James has also decided to get on the same stance as far as helping felons to vote as well. That came out yesterday. Speaking of Governor DeSantis calling for harsher penalties in Florida for people involved in violent, disorderly protests. I told y'all. They're trying to set y'all up. They're trying to set people up. Of course he would. Of course he would. Now, let's read the comments real quick. Dwayne said the country is so focused on money and greed. People are so desperate to go back to their escapisms. I thought when you became a felon, you lost your privilege to vote. You know it. Humanity is a gauntly and haughty species, and the majority is fierce and having no self-control. All right. Florida governor says he wants to crack down on violent, disorderly protests that threaten the safety of the public and law enforcement officers. Speaking at Polk County Sheriff's Office on Monday, the Governor Ron DeSantis announced the creation of Combating Violence, Disorder, and Looting and the Law Enforcement Protection Act. Good God Almighty! I mean, how long is that act? Good God Almighty! Which also needs to be voted on by state legislation. All right. Recently, our country we have seen attacks on law enforcement. We've seen disorder and chaos in many cities across the world, calling it the boldest and most comprehensive piece of legislation in this country. In order for the bill to be approved, it would make a third-degree felon if you take part. It would make it would make it a third-degree felony if you try to take part in any violent and disorderly assembly. Of course, what I just tell y'all. Again, I'm gonna stop there. Delindra, do you see how this all works?
Well, Americans to understand that he is doing whatever he can to make sure this election goes down in history. First of all, you try to act like, oh, nobody wants to go vote at the polls, so we need to push the date back. No, we don't need you in office no more, not more long. No, we're not gonna play games like that. It has never happened in history of America where we push the date back for the date for the president. We're not doing it. Then you seen pictures of how all of a sudden they removed post office boxes and whole trucks come up disappearing for the mail trucks and all of this stuff. Now you want to make sure that anybody who decides to protest for anything and is arrested gets a felony. So therefore, if any of us decide to act crazy, or maybe, and you know what, you don't even know, you could be just standing there and they could use that as an excuse to say you were cutting up to arrest you. I mean, Andre, it's scary to think that now that everybody decides to go out and peacefully protest today or anytime this week, that they could just say, hey, you are going against the law and that's a felony. That's scary.
It's funny how things come full circle.
True.
While we're bringing it full circle.
So true.
Real quick in world news, I think we're gonna end with Wisconsin, but in world news, I have to read this because it all ties together. I want to read about Trump's order real quick. Trump order seeks ban military government contractors from diversity training. You hear that again? Let me say that again one more time. Trump's order seeks to ban military and government contractors from diversity training.
What's the purpose for that?
Oh, you know what the purpose is.
No, I'm saying, what did he give a purpose? The reason why he said not to do that. Because America is built on diversity. America is not just one culture.
It says the lengthy order, I put it here. Donald Trump was speaking at a campaign rally in Moonstown, Pennsylvania, in which it says the lengthy order says it forbids diverse concepts, including teaching that the U.S. is fundamentally racist or sexist. The responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same sex so he trying to hide history too. On top of that.
I mean, yeah, I'm saying, so is this order saying that they're going to rewrite the history books? I mean, are we not going to teach our children about history, about any of those things?
It says military members will not face any penalty for refusing to support or believe these concepts. Americans should be taught to take pride in their great nation. And if you don't, there's nothing in it for you. Wow.
I'm going to have to read up on that one, Andre, because my thoughts right now, as you read that, was that if I was to say that someone was trying to attack me because of being racist or sexist, or that basically I wouldn't be the person, they wouldn't be arrested, I would be arrested, or I would be the person judged by the government, not them, is what it seems like you're saying.
This is an interesting comment. Says Dwayne Whitley said, well, he's making people focus on the philosophy of separatism. Trump is going to nominate court justice on Saturday. Yep. It says the order comes amid a broad re-examination of racism in America in recent months after police killings of Black Americans, including George Floyd, who died May 25th, obviously in Minneapolis. It also talks about many U.S. companies that have issued statements of solidarity with the Black community, promise to increase diversity among employees, and collective pledge near $2 billion to advance racial justice and equality. But Trump and conservative lawmakers have shafted at what they see as a major rewriting of America's history and efforts by protesters to tear down U.S. monuments. Oh boy, here we go with the smoke screen again. Never fails. And that is a part of your world news.
You ready for some Wisconsin news so we can shut it down?
Wrap it up. Yep, absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have some Wisconsin news. And I think that this one is very interesting. I was really shocked about this. Wisconsin black man is falsely arrested at his own home, and he is now about to sue the city. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And if I'm not, I'm sorry, sir. But we're still wanting to let people know about what you're doing and what's going on. Keontae Ferge was arrested and held at gunpoint at his home by two officers. On June the 2nd, the young man was arrested in his home with gun pointed at him. But the police are now calling it an incident and a mistake. Apparently, he was arrested in his home after a neighbor called the police because he was sitting on his patio. Two police officers entered his home with their guns drawn and handcuffed him. The home belonged to his coach, who allowed him and another player to stay in the home after his mother previously lived there and had passed away. Well, Officer Wigdid and Wentz discovered they made a mistake and they apologized, saying, "Sorry to ruffle your feathers this morning." They added that the neighbor was probably alarmed and called the police because the boys are two big black guys. Yeah. So the lawsuit that he has put in states that it seeks to effect change through damages by punishing the defendant for their conduct, with the hope that the punishment is significant enough to prevent this from happening again in the future, so that a person can move into a formerly vacant home in the city of Monona and sit on his porch without having fear that the police will break in and shoot him. It also adds that it seeks the effect change of damages by punishing the defendants for their conduct in hopes that this will never happen again. Well, Andre, what would you do if you were sitting in your home? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sitting in your home and the police just burst in your house and put the gun to you. Doesn't it sound familiar to you? Don't this sound like something that just happened?
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to come into my home, my residence. You don't ask questions. You just pull a gun because someone called you and said that there were two big black men, guys, as they said, on a patio. How is that possible?
It's possible because Trump's whole existence has been based on the philosophy of separatism, in the words of Dwayne Woodley. Great answer. If you're not wealthy and white, you're irrelevant. That's why.
That's sad, because I remember watching a video on Facebook where a gentleman posted where he was in his apartment and he had just gotten off work from a night shift. And he woke up to the police standing over him with a gun pointed at his head because a neighbor claimed that someone was suspiciously walking around in the neighborhood. And when he told them that was his house and told him his name, they still tried to arrest him and still had him handcuffed. So you're not even safe in your homes, when I was always taught that when you're in your home, that you're supposed to be safe enough to, if someone breaks in your home, you should be able to shoot them. So what if he was so out of it that when the police came into their home, he pulls his gun and he gets shot from protecting himself? Are people thinking about those things? When you're calling and trying to ruffle the feathers of African Americans, trying to be funny because the African American can afford a nice apartment or a nice home, and you decide to call police, if they're in their home, they're by right and by law able to pull a gun and to shoot.
I hope it never happens. But I tell you, the day that that happens, that an African American is in his home and a police officer walks in and gets blown away, and I'm sorry to say this because shotguns are legal.
Exactly.
And gets blown away for doing it, I watch how quick and how fast this turns on watch how quick it turns on the tier.
Exactly.
You thought that that Breonna Taylor situation had outrage? Watch the outrage that would happen from a police officer invading your space and you blowing them away, and see the reaction. Watch the reaction.
Exactly. Because that very well could have happened with these two young men when they were on their patio. Why would
I would be surprised if it hasn't already happened and it just ain't been put out
there? That's what I'm wondering.
I would love to look that up, research that. And the reason why I just want to see the reaction. I want to see what the reaction is to it. That's it.
Exactly. Because like you said, shotguns, you have the right to bring out your shotgun. And I mean, what are you going to do? What can you say when that person has that right to protect themselves? And and from the way the story is told, it doesn't seem like they announced who they were coming in. And I know the gentleman that I was talking about on Facebook, they didn't announce themselves when they came in. They had the gun pointed at his head. He was asleep. So, I mean, that's scary, really scary. So, I got one more.
I would love.
Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, I would just love. I just wanted to say I would just love to honestly. I would love to honestly see what people would have to say about it. In fact, watch this. I'm gonna take a poll on it. I'll post it on Facebook later on, and I want to see what the reaction is.
Exactly. We should really. We got one more piece of news for Wisconsin, and then we'll be through. Ladies and gentlemen, Wisconsin, I hope you're having a great day, and I hope you're being safe, because Wisconsin has declared a new public health emergency after the surge in coronaviruses among young people. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Wisconsin will continue to require people to wear face masks indoors after the state saw a surge in new COVID-19 cases. The order was issued by Governor Tony Evers on Tuesday, coupled with the declaration of the public health emergency. The order is effective immediately, according to the governor's office. And it's due to having a steepening rise in cases among 18 to 24-year-olds. There was a rise because back in August, they were getting 628 cases. Now it's up to 1,791 cases a day. The increase has been driven in part by the unprecedented numbers of infections among 18 to 24-year-olds who have a case rate 5 times higher than other age groups. And the governor's office said that masks are already required, but it was set to expire in September 28th, actually. But since the new cases, they are extending this another 60 days. The jump has occurred just in the last month, and the 6 of the 8 cities with the fastest rise tend to have universities located on those campuses. And Andre, we were just talking about this. The young people are not taking it seriously, and Wisconsin governor admitted that the rise was happening in the cities that had universities and colleges and campuses. And these kids are causing these rises in coronaviruses because they're not believing it, or who knows, they might be playing the same little game they were playing on the University of Alabama campus, who still have not openly said that these things were happening, but kids have openly said they were doing it. So what do you think about that, Andre? Because we were just talking about this with the 18 to 24-year-olds.
I want to say, everybody who is in Wisconsin, just off the strength that Selena Cyber lives in Wisconsin, please be safe. Please take it serious. We definitely praying for her and her safety as well. I was gonna say something else, but it probably wouldn't have been that nice. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it anyway. They still playing around. Y'all still playing around. How long Bringing It Full Circle been on? How many times I done heard about Wisconsin changing this, doing that? How many times y'all want to keep playing around? Y'all gonna keep playing around? Right? Now y'all declarating something new. I've heard this 1,000 times now with y'all. When y'all gonna get it right? Like, I felt like they in the same boat as Florida. Like, y'all gonna stop playing around? Listen, the more y'all play around, the less we can go see. Is that motivation for you? We can't go to Lambeau Field, damn it.
You worried about football, Andre.
I'm just saying we can't go to Lambeau Field because y'all want to play around. By the way, watch the Lambeau League podcast. Shameless plug.
A mess. Y'all men are worried about this coronavirus because y'all want to play. Y'all want to watch football. I'm so done. I know that.
No, it's not just football. I just figured, you know what? It's not even just about football. I just figured that'd be some motivation for them to actually want to stop playing games.
I know, Andre. You know, it's a lot of women that like to tailgate too, and all. You can't do it. I mean, put the mask on. Do what you got to do, so y'all can tailgate and watch the games.
Yeah, especially the ladies in Wisconsin. Y'all need to get it together. Get them together.
Ladies, we have a lot of influence. Tell your men to put the mask on. Do what they're supposed to do. Social distance.
Hard heads. Don't be hard headed.
Exactly. Because they keep lying about these football players. I know somebody done got it by now. I don't know why they playing like that. I don't even. Really, Andre? He's really trying to motivate y'all. He's really trying to motivate.
Come on now. Let's go. We undefeated. We need to be at Lambeau Field. Come on. All right.
If that didn't motivate y'all, I don't know what will.
Do it for the team. Do it for the team.
Andre, you might want to tell the people that like money. Do it for the money, the economy.
Yeah, do it for the money. Do it for the economy. Do it for the green and yellow. Do it for the green and yellow. All right.
Okay.
I done had too much fun today. All right.
So y'all, we're gonna do this once a week until we get, because Andre and I are so busy, both of us. Andre is doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. Look how he looking. He ready to go to sleep right now, probably.
I am. My daily nap, 1 hour.
You know what? Why is it when you were a baby, you remember like Head Start and kindergarten, you didn't want to take a nap, but now that you're an adult, you be ready for them 5 or 10 minute naps? Is it just me?
Yeah, you don't remember growing up and you used to get in trouble for getting up out the bed, sneaking out the bed? Mom.
Exactly. You found it. I want some water.
Deliver out the bed, playing.
I want no water. I be turning my air conditioner up. Covering up.
Now you can't wait to get in the bed.
Exactly. I'm thinking about nap time right now.
Right now. Right. You right about that. Right now. With that being said, I think this was a great Bringing It Full Circle.
Yes, it was. And I want to thank you ladies again. What are their names? I don't want to mispronounce them.
Taniqua Simmons, Dorothea Franklin.
Yes, thank you ladies for coming on and giving more information. We thank you guys so much.